Okay. We should have sound now. I forgot to turn on the sound. Hello, 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 hello. Hi, Ruth, Amber, Joan, Dorothy, Peggy, Amber. Hello, hello. Good to see you, all of you. I'm here. It's been a wild day. It's been a bit of a wild rush here, so we're gonna see what we can get going. I had a luncheon that I had to go to. Okay, somebody, maybe Amber or Ruth could check something for me. I put 2 links in the description below the video. I'm also going to put them in the chat. How am I going to do that? They're in the description below the video. Okay, could one of you or both of you check those and see if they take you to the drawings? You just packed your bag for stitching day? Good. Yes, Amber, I got it. And I talked about it on Monday and I showed it on Monday. I sure did. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much. Anyway, if one of you, they do, so they take you to the images that you can download. Okay. Thank you, Catherine. Thank you. Okay. While I am cutting a piece of fabric out, there are images for you guys to download if you want them. You don't have to do. Hey ho, Jan. Links work. Good, 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 good. I will show you what they are in case you want to decide if you want to go get them. It's no charge. You can get them, download them, print them off if you wish. And this is one of them. They are labeled. So this is one of them right here. So it's the 6 little elves that I drew. And then there's also the little gnome tree house. So both of those links are in the description below the video. If, hi Kathy. You are welcome to send those to me on, Kathy, on Instagram. You can direct message me on Instagram if you want to do that. That'd be great. Okay, yeah. That's great. So there should be 2 of them. There should be one for the little gnome treehouse, and then the other one is for the gnomes. Okay? So if you guys are interested in those, you're welcome to have those. Yeah. Anyway, so I had a luncheon I had to go to at 11 o'clock, and it was a bit of a rush to get there, get back, do the thing. Hey, Starla. Yeah, you just kind of gotta do the, gotta do the thing. And I did. And I'm back, and I'm here. But I didn't quite get everything ready for you guys. Anyway, so if you want those images to use, you're welcome. They are inspired by images online. I cannot take full credit for them at all. Okay, let's see. I want to do, I have to math here for a minute, which is not my strong suit, let me tell you. So, hold on a minute. Let me think. Okay, I need like maybe 9 inches. Okay, we're going to go a little bit longer, a little bit taller. sorry. I really should be better prepared for this than I am, you guys. You're going to have to put up with me today. You're just going to have to put up with me doing this. Okay. Alright, so then if we want to do like 7... Okay, I'll do this, and then a spine, we'll do 2. Okay, that'll give us what I need. Okay, I'm done mathing, and if this comes out the way it's supposed to, it'll just be a miracle, and we'll all just be so excited. What I'm cutting is for the cover of the book. And we shall see how this comes out, because I'm telling you guys, we're making it up as we go. We're definitely making it up as we go along. I hope you guys are having a great day. The thing that I went to, the luncheon I went to, was a scholarship. It was a luncheon where the students who received scholarships were being honored, and they got to meet the people that created the scholarships for them, etc. How did I manage to do that? Yeah, it's all right. Okay, we're good. Hey, Barbara Clark. Hey, Linda Patrick. You are very welcome. So those of you who are the mods today, if you want to tell people every so often, you don't have to make a big deal out of it, but if you want to tell people every so often that those are there, those PDFs are there, they can go and print them out. And that's just, I mean, you can have them for whatever. You can use them for cards, you can use them for whatever you want to use them for. You can't sell them because they're not original enough to sell them. Although I didn't copy from anybody, I did use, I looked at different people's, just looking at something that was in my sewing stuff. This is freight check. Just caught my attention. I can hardly talk because the room was so noisy where we had this luncheon. Freycheck is supposed to be very liquidy, and in case you can't tell, there is no liquid to that. So guess what? That goes in the trash. Yes. It's been a wild morning. It's been a wild week. This week has just gone whoosh, right by me. Right by me. So if I am distracted in my thought process, you'll understand why. Anyway, so if you want to go and get the gnomes, and also there's the gnome treehouse that's going to go on the cover of my holiday journal, you are welcome to go and get those and then use them for what you want. I have not had a chance to do any more on my little gnome house, so we may do some stuff on that today. I don't know. So there are the gnome PDFs again. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate that. So you're welcome to use them and enjoy them as much as you'd like to enjoy them. Okay? Hey, Connie. Hello, hello. Okay. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do, and we're making this, you are seeing this created right in front of your very eyes as we go through this process because I have thought about it, but I have not gotten, I have not, let's just put it that way. I have not. Okay. So what we have at the moment, I gotta get the right camera here. Okay. So what I have here, this is a piece of drop cloth. It comes in a giant piece. This happens to be a white drop cloth. Usually they're very vanilla colored. This is pretty white. And I like this, and I debated and debated about whether I was going to jelly plate print it or what I was going to do with it. And I think what we're going to do is I think I'm going to put a ground and a sky, and that'll be easy, because I would like for this to just, hey Dana, I would like for this to just be simple, and so that's what we're going to do. And this is the little gnome house, tree house that we started on Monday night. And so this is one of the PDFs that you have. This is just a base coat of watercolor. And so I thought we might play around with this a little bit today. I don't know, but we may do that. But this is going to go on the cover of the book. And so that's the reason for the size. I'm going to cut this out and probably stitch it onto the cover of my book, although I'm not entirely sure. Like I said, we're making it. How many times can I tell you? We're going to make it up as we go. Anyway, there's our little tree house in progress. And so let's take a look at some fabrics that I pulled out because I thought you guys might enjoy helping with this process. Let me turn off a light. Sorry, I know that was probably loud as I'm rolling across the floor. Hopefully that helped a little bit. Anyway, what I thought we would do is just very simply, these are the two that I'm leaning toward, make a ground. Since these are green stars, we can make a sky or a ground out of stars. We don't have to have stars in the sky. And this is a similar green in this as what I have in the ground. So we might cover the sky with this and then have our little gnome house on top of that, and I think that would work. I did also find some really neat fabrics. I can't remember if I showed these to you before. This is a really nice one. It is I'm not sure if this was don't think this was a Tim Holtz. Maybe it is. I can't remember. Anyway, I bought a bunch of these at the same time. But it has handwriting with a lot of, from, like a Christmas card, Christmas letter, or whatever. And I love handwriting. And I thought about using that in the sky, but I don't think it's the right blue. I like this combination better. But this was a neat piece. And I used to buy fabric by 2 or 3 yard pieces, and I stopped doing that because it's like there's no reason to have 2 or 3 yards of something that I'm doing much smaller projects now. This was another really neat one. This one I know is a Tim Holtz fabric. It's called Holidays Past Christmas Clippings, and this one is really neat. That is where they have clipped out different kinds of things from cards, from books, from all different things that have Christmas, anything in reference to Christmas, and printed them on fabric. He's also done that in paper things, stickers types of things. And so this could be some fun stuff to use in the journal. And this was another one. I'm just showing you these because I thought you would enjoy the collage aspect of them. This is another Tim Holtz fabric, Christmas fabric. I had never seen these in person, but the quilt store that is close to me actually had them. So this has a lot of postcard types of imagery, but it's all handwriting and ledgers and printed things and all different kinds of stuff. Anyway, nice things to use if you are into fabric collage, or things that, if you like to combine fabric and paper, it's a nice to add to your stash. Nice shoe. And this one, same thing. This is from the Tim Holtz line. I'm pretty sure. Yes, it is. Eclectic Elements. And so this is more of the collage style fabrics, and lots of plaids. So very typical of Tim's aesthetic and the way he designs. So anyway, a lot of ledgers, a lot of handwriting and so forth. So I buy these by the fat quarter or by the half yard, and then that's how I buy fabrics anymore, unless I'm doing a big project like a quilt or a wall hanging or something like that. Okay, so that's, I just thought I don't know why I showed you those, just because I thought you'd like to see them. Just because I thought you'd like to see them. Yeah, okay. How are you guys doing today? I hope you're doing well. I hope you're doing great. The weather here is just outstanding today. Outstanding. And we are at the time of the year where it's going to go from summer to winter, probably with a little bit of fall in between. Yeah. All right, so we're going to have not so much ground on this. I don't know how I managed to get exactly the right amount. Look, right, exactly the amount of fabric. You see this? Crazy. Anyway, the reason I'm using this drop cloth, it's not like canvas that you paint on, but it is a canvas, kind of a duck canvas type fabric. So anyway, we are going to first of all rip off the salvage edge. I have been working on my sewing room this week. Yeah, I had never seen them in the quilt store, and I know he's been doing them for a long time, but I had never seen them in the quilt store. So, and this quilt store recently changed hands. I don't know, recently. I don't know what recent would be. It could be the last year, it could be 2 years ago, it could be 6 months ago. I'm not really sure. But anyway, it has changed hands, and so I don't know if they had it in there before. I really don't know. Okay, so we're going to do this at about a third of the way up. So let's see. Let's measure this and see. I think I did this about 9 inches in height, 10 inches. Okay. 3, 6, 9. We'll go just a little bit over 3 inches. So I'm going to go slightly over 3. So this is 1, 2, 3. We'll go 3 and a half. Okay, so there's our ground. There's the ground for our little they are very nice quality, and they are, I think they are pretty much exclusively in the nicer quilt stores and things like that. But like, I don't think you'll see them in Michael's. I don't know whether Joanne Fabrics carried them, but I don't think that you'll see them in some place like Michael's. or Hobby Lobby. Don't think. Someone can correct me if I am mistaken about that. Okay, this is just a tiny bit short of the width. I thought it was exactly right, but it's a tiny bit short. And that is a-okay. We're going to put some pins in this. So how's life for you guys this week? I hope you've had a good week. We went to 2 times. We went out of town and we went to watch Elton's granddaughter play volleyball, and she played last night. She played really well. She is a sophomore in high school. She's 15, sophomore in high school, and she made the varsity team, that is pretty remarkable. And we were very, very happy for her, and she played really well. She scored 2 points last night. I couldn't tell if she scored 2 or 3. But it was senior night, so I thought, she's not going to get to play. She's a senior. She's a sophomore. The luncheon that I went to just a little bit ago, it was so noisy in there, and Elton was late getting to the luncheon because he was tied up in a meeting at the office. So I am talking I'm projecting a lot. My voice, I know you guys can't tell this, but my voice does not. It does not project well. And so yeah, I really strained my voice while I was covering for him, as he said. I sent him a note, and I said, "Are you here yet?" He sends back a note to me and he goes, "No, I'm tied up still." And I'm like, "Oh," and he says, "Cover for me." Cover for me, right? Oh, that man. What are we going to do with him? Cover for him. He did get there, but he was a lot later than, he was just later than I expected him to be. You like that fabric? The Tim Holtz fabric? Is that the one you like, Amber? I love this color combination. Okay, so I'm going to put this back down. And I've cut some of this. Anyway, I'm kind of all over the place today, but that's okay. You guys are used to that by now. Okay, so what I've done is I've overlapped this, and I'm going to, let's see. We're going to just not make this too, I don't want this to be straight across. So anyway, we've been out of town twice this week, and for volleyball games, and I sent her granddaughter a note last night and said we really enjoyed watching her play. And she responded this morning. Okay, this requires a drum roll. And she sent a note back to me. I have not been her favorite person on the planet, but we've made some inroads over the last year or so, and nobody wants somebody to come in and take away one of their favorite people, or feel like their favorite person is not going to be available in the same way that they have been. You know, that's just typical. That's just kind of typical. Anyway, her response was, "Oh, thank you for coming. It's all I always love seeing you guys here, or having you guys here," or something like that. And I'm like, "Wow, I think I've climbed up the ladder of acceptance." That's a good thing, people. That's a good thing. Hey, Terry. Hi, Dana. 2 Danas in the house today. That's great. Okay, so what I've done is I have just, let's come out just a little bit so you can see. What I've done is I've overlapped what I have down here a little bit, and I've just made this line less than perfect. Okay, and I'm going to put some pins in it. Now, if you're into slow stitching, hand stitching, and you enjoy doing that, which I very much do, it's taken me a little bit to kind of find my style, or my that which I'm real comfortable with, you know, because you kind of have to find your own way in, whether it's art journaling or it's hand sewing or watercolor or whatever. You kind of have to find your own way, find what works for you. And so I kind of have discovered that with my own process of hand stitching, and I really enjoy it. But that would just take entirely too much time for us to watch that happen. So I'm just going to cut this fabric. The sky is going to be slightly oversized from this ground, because the ground, I'm using everything I had. But for this, so now you have a better idea of proportion. So let's say, just kind of imagine with me that this is the size of the front cover, and we're going to imagine that this is cut down and that this would fit on there. Shall we cut it down? We'll at least cut it down a little bit. You are supervising this journal, holiday journal cover that we're in the process of making. And we're going to combine watercolor paper on the cover. I'm going to combine watercolor paper and fabric. So I may leave that out so we have, I'll leave a little bit of it so we have something to test on if we need it. So this will obviously be cut out a little bit better, but that will give you a little bit of an idea of what it's going to look like. So we're going to maybe put that tree on the front. If I have enough fabric, this will be a flap. I don't know if it'll be a flap. I've allowed a couple of inches for a spine, which may be overkill. And if that is, which I think it could be, then the flap may even be bigger. And I do like flips and flaps and things in the books, so when I do them. And there are 2 links there that you can download your personal copy of. These are my drawings and things in process. So you will have a copy of the tree. It's not this one, but it is one similar. and then you will have a copy of the gnomes. Here are 6 gnomes that I drew. These are heavily inspired by things I found online or on cards. So although I did not copy them directly, they are heavily influenced. Therefore, there is no charge for these. These could be considered my own drawings, but it's a gray area. So I'm not even putting my name on them for that reason. Okay? So you can download those. And the other thing is, if you have a printer available where you want to resize them, if you want to make a small journal or whatever, you just resize them, print them whatever size you want. You know, you can, if you want to turn them into ornaments or whatever, I don't care. I don't care what you do with them. It'd be fun for me to see what you do with them, but you're not by any means required to do that. Okay? Okay. So those are the links to the 2 downloads that you can do whatever you want to do with. Okay? Except the only thing you can't do is sell them. That's the only thing you can't do. Because they're not sellable. Places in the UK that have them too. You mean the Tim Holtz fabric, Dorothy? I'm assuming that's what you mean. You guys are welcome. Enjoy them, have fun with them, do as you wish with them. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is we're gonna stitch this fabric on here, and I don't know how this is going to turn out. We're just going to play and see. I'm assuming that you guys don't mind watching me fiddly fit art whatever around. I'm assuming you don't mind that because you keep hanging out here and spending time with us. And so I'm assuming that you don't mind watching the fiddliness go on. Okay, you guys, this is funny. I went to, where did I go? It was several weeks ago. I was in Paducah, Kentucky, and we went into this giant quilt store. Well, it's not, I guess a lot of it's quilting, but a lot of it is also just home deck fabric and stuff like that. So I went in this store and no, that's not true. That's not true. I was just going to tell you a bald-faced lie. Rewind. Rewind. Went into this, went in the store, got some stuff, but then I couldn't find what I wanted, which was King Tut thread. For some reason, it has become difficult to find. And so I thought, well, I'll order some different colors from, directly from the creator, manufacturer of the King Tut thread, which is Superior Threads. Okay? So I'm sure that you know that if you've been hanging around me any length of time, let's go this way. Okay. I'm sure that if you've been hanging around me any length of time, you know my love of this color. These are variegated threads. I love the variegation in the King Tut thread. You may or may not be able to see that variegation. But anyway, there is the color number on it. Okay? 924. And I was having heart palpitations a little bit because this is getting down. And this is my very favorite color thread. I use this a lot. And then I thought, well, you know, I should have another color, another spool of this thread. And I did. But I had forgotten how much it had on it. I thought, in my crazy, I thought this was the only one I had. Discovered later that I had this one. Well, then I ordered these other spools of thread thinking, I think I ordered 3, but I don't know where the third one is right now, the third color. Anyway, I'd ordered these and I'm thinking, oh, I'm all set now. Oh, I know, the other one was a variegated black that I'm hand stitching with. And so I looked at the greens because greens are something that I always need. Greens and blues, I use those a lot in my stitching work. Okay, look, I ordered the same color. I will not run out of this thread anytime soon. No, I won't. This one is nice too. This 1064, this is a really nice one. Anyway, so yeah, I will not be running out of this anytime soon. Yeah, but you know, the hard part is that I didn't want to order the whole kit and caboodle. And sometimes when you look on Amazon, it depends. Sometimes they're good at letting you pick a spool, and sometimes they want you to order a whole bunch of threads. And I'm not good at not seeing the threads clearly, or I wouldn't have ended up with 3 spools of lime green. Anyway, okay, so I'm going to put my threads here, and then I'm going to get my sewing machine, which is around the corner. I am in the process here in this house, in this new space, which it's a funny thing because Elton's house is much bigger than my house was, but my studio space was much bigger in my house than where I'm working here, and I'm split into 2 rooms on the opposite ends of the house. This house has lots of built-in things, cabinets, countertops, things like that, which is lovely, except I have a lot of standalone pieces of furniture, and so it's like putting a Chinese puzzle together to figure out where things fit. And so I've been doing a lot of that, measuring, taking pieces of newspaper, laying them out on the floor, you know, because I am not good with something's this big and that big and that big. I got to have the piece of paper, I got to put it on the floor, I got to stand back and look at it. If it has doors that open, I need a piece of tape that says the door swings open this far. Can I walk around it? You know, I have to, it is the way my personal private brain works, and so I've been doing a lot of that. The Chinese puzzling, Jenga puzzling, whatever kind of puzzling everything together. Because I'm at the point now where I have to get the rest of what little pieces of furniture, if there's anything I want left in my house, I got to get it out, and then the rest of it's going to have to go away. Yes. Amber gets me. Amber hears me. I'm glad. Okay, let me get my sewing machine and let's stitch this fabric together. And while I do that, I will talk. If there is one thing on this planet, if I could only say there was just one thing that drove me absolutely over the edge, crazy, it is having to move things to get to something else. I cannot stand that. It didn't used to be that way. I think it must come with age, that the older I get, the less tolerant I am about moving stuff, you know, like moving this thing that's in front of the cabinet to get to the other thing. I cannot stand that, you guys. Cannot stand it. Do any of you hear me on that? Do any of you understand what I'm saying? Because I I literally, if you want to see me lose my cork, put a bunch of stuff in front of other things, or I have to step over something to get to the thing that I really want. No. Somebody tell me that you hear me. Oh, I may need to go scrounge a bobbin up, you guys. I'm so sorry. I thought I had everything here I need, but apparently not. Let me go get a bobbin. I'm sorry. Talk amongst yourselves for just a moment. Okay, I'll be right back. Now, I realize that sometimes you don't have the luxury of having all the space that you need, and sometimes you may have to have something in front of something else. I'm telling you, I absolutely hate moving stuff to get to something else. And yeah. Okay, we're almost ready. Let me quickly wind a bobbin here. Oop. That's not what I wanted. Okay, makes Barbara Clark crazy too. A stack of 2 boxes on her shelves, and that sometimes taxes her patience. I'm hearing you. I'm so hearing you. I want to walk into a room. I want to have space to walk around. Now my space at my other house, where in my other creative area, was not always super well organized, especially at certain times in my life. It wasn't super well organized. But the older I get, the more it's like, no, it has to be more organized than this. Okay, we're going to start with, I'm going to start with this new color of thread. And when I am putting things, trying to make things go where they need to fit, which is here, I can't have all the stuff in the room. I have to move all of it out of the room and then bring it in one container at a time. I'm not too sure that as I've gotten older, I'm not too sure I haven't developed some a little bit of and don't take this the wrong way, but a slight case of OCD. It is not bona fide by any means, but a slight case of it where I just, I didn't used to be like this, people. I don't know when it happened. Don't know when it happened. Okay, I've got the new color thread, which is 1064, I think. Let me look. Yeah, 1064 is this new color of thread I just got not long ago. And so that's what we're going to use in the ground to start with. And we are going to just make some little gentle hills. Okay. So that's what we're going to do. And then I may want to put some of that lime green in here because we know I have plenty of it. I have plenty of it. If you have any questions, be sure you put them in all caps, because like let me for just a minute before I start sewing, let me read the chat. Amber's going crazy too because of clutter. Tim Holtz, yeah. Dorothy was talking about Tim Holtz fabric. Okay, everybody kind of seems like they're a little bit in alignment with how it drives them crazy. Oh, Terry says OCD is occasionally clean distraction. That's pretty good. Barbara Clark has a noxious stack of scraps to her left and right. I can understand that. Okay, so here's what we're going to do, just so that I can kind of get rid of the pins in this piece, because we pinned all this stuff together. And I'm going to just use at this moment, I have white thread in the bobbin, I have the King Tut thread on the top, and I'm just going to use a kind of a long-ish straight stitch, and if I lose patience with that, I will put on the free motion foot and we'll free motion it. But for right now, what I'm going to do, let me get this, almost had a rat's nest happen there. I'm just simply going to stitch where these fabrics have overlapped, just so that connects that to the base fabric, which is drop cloth. It is white drop cloth, which is like canvas, like duck canvas. It's kind of like the canvas that you would paint on, but it is literally meant to protect floors when you're painting. And they become lovely and spattered and beautiful when they're used for painting purposes. I used to rescue drop cloths from Clausman. When they would get to be too much, I would rescue them from him. And of course, he thought I was a little crazy, but we know that's true. We know that's the case, don't we? Okay, so I've just connected these two pieces of fabric onto the back. You can see that line of stitching there. Okay. Now, just for grins and giggles, again, to make this a little more, we're going to work on the grass first and not worry about the sky for the moment. And so I'm just going to stitch around the outside edge of this. And if I had been thinking, I would have put my pins in the other way, but I didn't, so I'm going to have to fight that a little bit, because I have the head of the pin going the wrong direction, but you know, it is what it is, what it is. You don't want to sew over pins, and I give this lecture It's not a lecture. It's a warning. It's a warning. If you can't be a good example, be a horrible warning. I'm trying to be a good example. And a good warning, a positive warning. Don't sew over pins. Sometimes people will tell you, oh, it's just fine. These pins are really thin, and it's fine to sew over them. It is not fine to sew over pins, and I'll tell you why. Because if your needle hits the pin, first of all, it's going to wreck your needle. And that is the best case scenario. Worst case scenario is it breaks, the needle breaks, and it goes down. It's not the worst case scenario, it's the second worst case scenario. It breaks and it goes down inside your sewing machine, and usually never to be seen again unless somebody has a good strong magnet. And then you have to be careful with computerized sewing machines. You have to be a little careful with them that you just have to be careful with them, that's all. We'll just let it go at that. Okay. So I have sewn around the ground area, and I'm going to zoom out a little bit so maybe you can see a little bit more what I'm doing. Okay. And so what I'm going to do is just some gentle undulating. Do you like that? That's my $25 word for the day. Undulating curves. Trying to make them gentle. And I will show you what I mean. Let me do a couple of lines of these and then I'll show you. The worst case scenario about stitching over a pin is this. The needle hits the pin. Let's come up here a little bit more. The needle hits the pin and breaks either the needle or the pin. And it flips and it goes into your eye. That is truly the worst case scenario. And people will go, we used to have people at the sewing machine store and go, oh, but I don't know anyone that's ever happened to. Trust me, it happens. And if you have glasses on, your glasses may protect your eyes, but unless you have on a full face shield, and I don't know anybody that sews with full face shield, it could get stuck in your face, and that's a real bad thing. Okay, see the undulating curves? Yes. Dorothy's niece is cracking the whip on her again. Dorothy, I tell you, that niece is worth her weight in gold. Okay, let's go a couple more undulating curves. Also, when you are sewing, one of the things that sometimes people don't do is they don't trim their threads at the beginning and ending of their sewing seam lines. It's a really, really good idea if you trim those threads. Otherwise, you just end up with a great giant mess at the end. And then you still have to trim the threads. You either have to trim them while you're in progress of sewing, or you got to do it at the end. Take your pick. Okay, and so we have one. I'm going to do one more line here. Jan, how is Mr. Bear doing? And tell him I said hello. Okay, so we have successfully stitched lines on our grass area. Okay, I have this hankering, and you know, when the Muse says do something, you got to do it. And I like this thread combination. I don't know whether you can tell it or not, but there are greens and blues that blend beautifully between these two fabrics. Mr. Bear's finest frog hair, and Sydney is 12 years old. That is wonderful. In case you don't know who Sydney is, that is Mr. Bear's kidney. Sydney the kidney that many of us went through that ordeal with Jan and Mr. Bear. Sydney is now 12 years old. That is so great. So great. I feel like we should have a birthday cake to celebrate Sydney's 12th birthday here with Mr. Bear. And he's almost a teenager. I hope he does not behave like one. Okay, what I'm doing here, if I can get this to thread. Come on, needle. Sometimes the eye of my needle gets a little stopped up with fusible web. Sorry if my head is in your way. Okay, it's going to be obnoxious, so let's see. Sometimes you have to encourage it a little bit. My other sewing machine has a needle threader, which is so lovely. This one does not. You have to be a little careful with machine needle threaders, though. Okay. All right, we're going to switch to, and we're going to start over here on the non-public side so I can get my rhythm going. I'm feeling like I might want to put a little bit of grass over here. So I switched to my favorite lime green thread, which I have plenty of. And I'm going to pull up the bobbin thread. And at this point, let's come in a little closer so you can see. As soon as I find my, here it is. Whoop, that might be a smidge close. And let's see if we can put some tufts of grass in here, in the lime green. Okay, and let's look let's look at this and see what we think. See if we think it's worth doing that. I don't want it to stick out too, you know, like a sore thumb kind of situation. There's some little tufts of grass. I don't know, I think it's kind of cute. What do you think? What do you think? You think it's okay? I think maybe it's okay. And we'll put in a few of those here and there. It just will help to kind of stitch, kind of hold the two fabrics together besides those long lines of stitching. So let's put some grass in. We can always put something else later, but this is just kind of a baseline of it may not look super duper great, but you know what? I think it'll look good enough. Some people might look at it and go, what is that that's on there? It's like, oh. Alright, where's my... Okay, there we go. Sometimes, you know, with free motion stitching, sometimes you can do really well. And other times, you know what, you just can... Sometimes your mind and your brain, especially if you're trying to talk and do it, they just go off on their own directions. Okay, Barbara, thanks for being here. Enjoy your lunch. Alright, let's put a few more of these on, and then let's do some stitching in the sky. Oh, this is going to have a big rat's nest on the bottom. I'll show you what I mean here in just a second. And it's because I didn't hold on to the thread. See this mess right here? Right here? Yeah. It's not only a rat's nest, but it also picked up some lint from the bottom of my feed dogs, which should have been cleaned out, but I obviously did not. And you go, whoops. That is a clear case of oops, oh well. Alright, so let's go down here. We'll do another one. Let's see if we can hold on to the thread a little bit better this time. So I pull the bobbin thread up, hold on to them until we get started stitching. Once you're started stitching, you can cut those threads off, and then you shouldn't have that issue of thread puke or a bird's nest on the back. Okay, and we'll call that good. Hey, Sarah. Sarah is 3 dogs, 2 kids. Good to see you, Sarah. Hope you're doing well. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4 little tufts of grass. I like those little tufts of grass. I hope you don't mind if I stitch just a few more. Let's go right about, let's go here. Good to see you, Sarah. Hope you're doing well. I love all your pictures on Instagram of your puppies and your horses. Also, when you're doing free motion stitching, be sure that your presser foot is down, okay? You can always draw on your fabric if you wanted to, and then stitch over what you drew. We're living dangerously. And I'm not even hitting the line. Sometimes I'm hitting the line, sometimes not. Okay, let's do, I think we need a little one right here. And once I get, we're going to do just a little one here. Once I get this cover stitched, then we'll cut out the tree and we'll see what the tree looks like on here. Just a little tuft of grass here. Just a little one. Sometimes you just need a little something something. And I'm using this as decoration. I'm also using it to attach the fabric to canvas on the bottom of the cotton. Okay, let's come up here and do one right about here. I'm just making it up, folks. Just making it up because we can. Lady Jan, you're too good to me. $5 for the illicit liquid needles and being absent. I know, right? Okay, So some of these are going to be pretty messy looking clumps of grass, and that's all right. Let's go down here and let's do one down here. Yeah, I'm trying not to line them up. The harder you try not to line something up, it's almost guaranteed that you're going to line it up. So we're going to try real hard not to. Okay, let's put a little, kind of a little clump here. Okay, that's just a little one. Again, while you're doing this kind of stitching, trim up your threads as you go, the tails of your thread. If you don't, you're going to make yourself cuckoo bananas. Alright, let's make sure we got, yeah, we're okay there. Alright, let's drop down to this one right here. Oh, we're almost done with grass. We don't have much more grass to put in here. That's good. Now, see, in the gnomes world where they live, they might have tulips and stuff down here, daisies and tulips and stuff. Because they live in their little old world that's different from ours, so who knows what kind of landscape they would have around their little house, and who says that their house has to be, even though we're making this for a holiday journal for me, that doesn't mean that the gnomes who live in my little house agree with my particular aesthetic, shall we say. Okay, we'll do a couple more clumps of grass and call it good. Then we'll work on the sky, and we'll see if we can put in some swirly cloud kind of things up there in the sky. Okay, got that one. That is crazy. Sarah's posts are being held back. Something must be, we must have had something goofy. Something goofy with the YouTube-y. Thank you for telling her posts, telling YouTube that her posts are just fine. Miss Barbara Clark, I appreciate that. Okay, last clump of grass here, because I don't think we need any more than this one. Who knows what triggered it? You never know. Never know. Okay, so I think that we have enough grass in here. YouTube has been crazy lately. Well, that's unfortunate, isn't it? Terribly unfortunate. Okay, so we got some grass. We got some more grass. We got just kind of running along those kind of undulating lines. So we got grass, okay? Okay. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to switch threads, and I'm going to put in a blue. So these were the two spools of thread that I used on the green. 924 and 1064. 1064 was those little undulating lines, and 924 is the clumps of grass. Alright, let's put some blue in the sky. This one is also a King Tut thread. This is 932, another one of my very favorite threads. It's getting down close to the end. I'm going to have to get some more of this one. This one has green in it. That's why we're using it. Okay? Remember when you thread for free motion stitching, you thread with the presser foot up. Okay? Presser foot up. When you're threading the machine, when you are stitching, the presser foot must be down. Must be down. Okay. Now, I'm going to switch for a moment to my regular presser foot. Put the feed dogs back up. And I'm going to take a second here. I was trying to avoid having to do this, but I'm going to have to. I'm going to trim this down while Barbara Clark is helping Sarah try to figure out what in the world's going on. I'm going to trim the fabric close to the edge of my canvas, my drop cloth, which is the base. Oh, sorry, you guys can't even see that. Hold on. A little bit more. You're going to get to see my mess, and I'm sorry about the sewing machine doing this strobe effect. Just don't look for a minute if that bothers you. But I thought you might like to see what I'm doing, which is just cutting the cover, the top, the sky fabric. I'm just cutting that down. Doesn't have to be perfect. Perfect-ish. So that I know where the edges are. There's no point in stitching any more than we need to stitch. And it's real easy to stitch out into just that one layer of fabric. And sewing machines, here's a top tip for you. Sewing machines are meant to stitch on a double layer of fabric. If you don't have a double layer of fabric, if you have a single layer of like a cotton fabric like this, you need to have a stabilizer under it. Whether it's a wash away stabilizer or a tear away or something, you need a second layer of fabric. Otherwise, the only thing that the fabric is going to do is either poke down inside your throat plate, which is this, or it is going to tunnel. If you're using a zigzag or any kind of patterned stitch, it's going to tunnel, which means the fabric goes like this. So it will gather up and it just makes a big mess. Okay. You know, computers are just weird animals, aren't they? Okay, let's come back here so that you don't have to see the strobe effect of the light. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to stitch around the outer edge, just like I did down here where this grass, the grass is. I'm going to do that around where the sky is now, just to hold the fabric together. Fabrics. Again, don't sew over pins. Okay, don't sew over pins. Okay, here we go. When you are stitching like this, and I have a light fabric on the top and a coarser fabric on the bottom, a heavier fabric, if you will just put a slight amount of tension behind the presser foot and in front, it is a slight amount of pressure. It's called taut, T-A-U-T, taut sewing. And it will help keep your fabrics from wanting to bunch up in front of the presser foot. Now this is all going to get trimmed down and squared up and all that later, but this is just going to hold it together while we're doing some decorating on this piece of fabric. And we're done. Okay. Okay. I'm going to go back to my free motion foot and put my feed dogs back down. Okay, feed dogs are going to, whoops, that was the wrong button. That was the right one. Okay. All right, we're back in business. All right, let me go back here. All right, so here is our little, we've stitched around, and I have white thread in the bobbin, so it's hard to see against the white of the canvas, but it is stitched all the way around, so the two layers are connected. All right, let's start over here again, because this is the part that's going to be on the back of the journal, so it won't, you know, nobody's going to see it as much over here. And so I think what we're going to do is just swirly, spirally kind of things. How do you like that? Okay, bring up the bobbin thread. Put the press foot down first. Bring up the bobbin thread. Okay, here we go. Boy, I got some long threads on that one. Alright, so now we're going to hold the threads together. I'm going to come here where I brought the thread up, and I'm going to take a couple stitches okay, cut the thread, and we're now ready to start stitching. Yeah, maybe kind of like that, but kind of Barb's rendition of Swirly Sky. And then just turn the fabric, take a breath, and then do some more. are not in a good position, then just stop, smooth things out, take a breath, and then go some more. Okay, so we have a swirly sky, just swirly stuff beginning to happen. Let's see. Just swirly, roundish, swirly, whatever. It just is what it is. Whatever kind of things that is, that's what it is. Okay, like the wind's blowing and the cloud, you know. We're not going to make cloud shapes. We're just going to make swirly things. And when you get tired of going one direction, switch and go a different way. Channel your inner three-year-old with the crayon as they're drawing. Whatever. Hold your crayon like this and draw. Bye, Barbara. Thanks for being here. Hi, Signa. Good to see you. Okay, let's go a little further. bobbin thread. Hold on. That's a lot of stitching when you run out of that much bobbin thread. We're just going to grab something that's in my bobbin minder. And we're just going to take something we've already got in here. Because we're close to being done, we'll just put this little... Trying to see which one of these has the most thread on it. None of them have a lot. Okay. We'll put this gray thread in. And hopefully we'll get done before we run out again. If we run out again, we'll add more. That's right. Jan says, an artist is an adult who refuses to give up their crayons. There's a guy on Instagram, young man, named Victor, and he goes by the handle VICHY, I believe. If you're not familiar with him, you should look him up. I believe his name is Victor. I'm not sure what country he lives in. You should look at some of his. He colors with mostly with oil pastel, I believe. Are any of you familiar with him? Okay, let's see if we can finish this. He does some really incredible animals. Never seen him? Yeah, let me look him up real quick and I'll show you. He is worth following. He really is. Here he is. Okay. This is the account right here. VICHYS. These are his pieces of art. He is autistic from what I have written. Here's a picture of him. And he's nonverbal. But look at the art and the color. And he'll have, you can see how he holds his pencil and his crayons. That's an oil pastel, I think. Anyway, you guys should follow him. You should follow him. Okay, let me finish this up, and then we'll see what happens next here. Okay, let's call that good. This is scribbling with thread. We have scribbled with thread up here, right? Just scribbled with thread. All right, I need to, hopefully I have enough thread in the bobbin, we'll find out. I need to come back and attach the sky to the ground a little bit better. Let's see, let's use a zigzag, but it's a 3-step zigzag, so it's 3 steps, 3 stitches for each zig and each zag. Okay, got it. And I had enough thread. Excellent. Okay, let's put this machine down. Okay. All right. So I'm going to put the machine on the floor. Out of the way. So there is our sky and our ground, more or less. We got to kind of use your imagination here. Okay, use your imagination a little bit. There it is. There it is on the back. You can see where I switched bobbin thread. Okay, so theoretically this is the front cover. There's going to be the spine off of this like so. Let's cut this down and take a look at it. I'm not going to attach it to the cover yet until we're finished with the tree. And then I think we'll play for a minute. We'll stop on the cover part, but we'll play for a minute with the idea of shading and decorating our little tree here a little bit more. This may not get sewn to the cover. This may get glued to the cover. I don't really know. I'm making it up as I go along. And then I'm gonna if curves get too tight when you're on watercolor paper, then what you want to do is use an X-Acto knife and a cutting mat and allow that to, because you're going to get it, make those curves tighter using an X-Acto knife than you are using scissors a lot of times, because this is 140-pound watercolor paper, so this has got some thickness to it. And I like cutting excuse me, cutting it into pieces, words. So as I get to the edge, instead of trying to go all the way around a section, I will just simply take it off the edge. And I'm leaving a border around the watercolor on purpose. Because it's going to be ever so much easier to outline the tree if there is paper on the other side of the outline. And here's the other thing, if I paint this, or if I start working on this and I don't like the effect I'm getting, I'll just paint it again. Because if you paint it once, you can paint it twice. I think what we'll do is we'll go ahead and outline it today, and then we'll play around with the shading and so forth next time. Okay. Well, there is Elton. Okay, so here is our little tree. Let's say that it's going to go on about like so. So we have a definite whimsy factor happening, which I like. All right, let's outline this. Let's see if I can find my pen here. I wonder where it went. Patience, just a moment. Oh, here it is. Yeah, let's use this one. This is an 03. You like the tree, Amber? Good. All right, let's start, and let's just outline it. Like I said, if I don't like it, I will repaint it, but let's go for it. Let's see what happens. Not too perfect. Okay, we want to maintain the childlike quality. Nothing too straight, nothing too perfect. The watercolor paper this is cold pressed watercolor paper. It is bumpy, and so that helps you with the whimsical quality. But what the outlining will do is just kind of give everything, it just sharpens things up a little bit. So it has the effect of a camera lens being focused. But again, we want that childlike, whimsical kind of quality that I'm after. That may not be your style, may not be what you're after, and that's okay. You do you. And then you can always come back and add more, lots more. All right, let's go after these tree branches. We're going to try not to fall off the edge of the paper. And I'm just going to turn it around to keep my hand comfortable. If you want the PDF download of this, the link is in the description box below the video. It has also been it's been put in the chat a couple of times, so you should be able to get. There's no charge for it. Go get them, download them, print them. If you need to, you can resize them. If you have that knowledge or skill or ability, just resize them to get them to be the size you want. Like if you're going to do note cards or something, you want maybe a different size. You can always scale them, reduce them, enlarge them. If you don't have the ability to print, you can take them to a copy store or an office supply place and print them off. If you need permission from, like at the copy place needs permission, shoot me a direct message or something and I will give you permission to do that. Sometimes they get real picky about copyright issues. Understandable. The only thing you can't do with those images is sell them. Because they are influenced, inspired by images online. They're not technically 100% mine, but I did not trace or copy them. I just looked at images that were out there and then made my own. So, technically they're mine, I guess, but I don't know. Technically they're not. I don't know. Wonky, wonky little gnome home. Oop. That's going to have a little extra thing there, so maybe we'll do that to these as well. It's just because my pen slipped. So if you make a mistake once, make it more than once. Alright, let's make this wonky little door. And then we'll add all kinds of things. Next time we'll add shading, we'll add trim, we'll add strings of lights. We'll add ornaments in the tree. I don't know what all we'll do. We'll keep we'll just keep doing stuff and see what happens. Okay, so we have a little tree trunk. Now we're going to fill in some stones. So this is all just to kind of get us started. Now we all know that a tree trunk is not made of stones. But in our world, in our little gnome house world, they might be. We have a little windowsill type thing under these windows, such as they are. You can put shutters around your windows. Make your stones as wonky as you want them to be. Or if you don't want stones, you could just make it into tree bark. And then That's probably good enough on that one. We can always add more. Okay. And so there is our little tree. There we go. Okay, so there's our little tree. There, kind of outlined it enough that you can see a little bit better. It doesn't look quite so blurry, and so it's kind of ready now for details. So now you can kind of use your imagination to see the whimsy factor of our little journal that's going to happen here. And you know, one of those fabrics that I showed you earlier, what did I do with it? Oh, here it is. Some of these may be bits and pieces that I use inside in the pages of the journal. Cut out some of these things. I don't know yet. But this one I think is wonderful for using in a journal like this, a holiday journal. It doesn't have anything to do with Thanksgiving, which I can maybe come up with something Thanksgiving-ish. But some of these little things could be easily cut out and put on the journal cover or on the journal pages. And then this piece also could have, I mean, I can see where all kinds of things, my imagination is starting to run rampant. My muse is happy today, because this is whimsy and fun and just a place to start. And we are gonna, I think it's gonna be fun. And the goal is to have this completely together, you know, like the pages all assembled, ready to fill it in and stuff like that before Thanksgiving. And we can do that. So this is an ongoing project for a little bit. So we'll see where it goes. Okay? I hope that sounds good with you, because that's what we're going to do. Bye, Dana. Good to see you. You have to finish your laundry. Oh, dear. Finish your laundry. Hi, Marilyn. Okay, I don't know if I missed anything from you guys, but hopefully not. Thank you for spending your Friday afternoon with me, and I hope you've had some fun. I hope you've had a little inspiration or a little gnome house. Don't forget, you can go get your gnomes. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to leave your email. You don't have to leave anything. There is absolutely no cost to you, one way or the other, for those patterns for you to do whatever you want to do. Okay? Okay. That's it. I will be back here. I'm pretty sure I'm here Monday night. Let me check my calendar. I don't think there's anything that any reason I won't be here. Let me check real quick. No, I should be here Monday night. Okay, so I will see you on Monday night, 7 Eastern. And until then, have a great weekend, great week, whatever, great day, evening. I don't know where you are in the world. I hope you're just having a good time. And I will see you Monday, hopefully. Until then, do something nice for somebody else. You know, you'll be glad you did. Makes them feel good, and you. And it just starts a good cycle for people doing nice things for each other. Okay, until I see you again, remember to get creative today and every day, because you know it's easy. And I'll see you before you know it. Bye for now.